how does...
We're here at the mall looking at different clothing in different stores for women and young girls.
Targeted to young girls.
Yes, targeted to young girls, and the way they dress now these days, and what influences them to dress this way.
Right.
We're going to talk about some different things that we saw in each store, of what we thought, why they dress these ways, as far as influencing them that we saw in the stores.
Such as type of items sold, the placement of the items, the variety,
the display of the items, who they were presented to.
Right.
The discounts, what do we see when we first walk to the store? If we see 70% off, clearance, 1 week sale, the eye catchers that pull us into the stores.
Buy 2 for 10, all those type of things.
And then we also briefly talk about the differences between girls' clothing and guys' clothing.
And also the plus size clothing and how there's a small variety.
Yes.
And a huge variety for smaller women. So let's break it down.
Yeah.
So our first store was Forever 21. And what's one thing that caught your eye immediately?
I think when we first went to Forever 21, the first thing that caught our eye was the jeans, where they were pretty much for someone that was skinny, obviously,
Right.
Had no waist, stomach area. Yeah.
There was no variety of the mannequins' body types at all. First floor.
I've seen a lot of crop tops, a lot of clothes that are meant to show a lot of skin. I find it very interesting how the stores fill with crop tops. It's
hard to find a normal length shirt.
And maybe that could be a positive thing for the body movement to show off your curves.
But it can also be negative because you can be sexualized.
Yes.
Right.
And girls can they feel like, oh, I need to be smaller to fit this, and then they could develop an eating disorder.
And then their mindset can be like, if I cannot fit these clothes, then I am not cute. I'm not good looking. Guys will not love me. I will be forever alone.
Society is what is doing this to us, young ladies.
Thank you.
Marketing
and another thing we saw in Forever 21 was pretty much all their mannequins were white. They all had wigs, blonde, brunette, straight hair. Pretty much we felt like they were bringing in more people. They were bringing in more young ladies and girls that pretty much look more like them. We saw one of the mannequins had a white tank top on. So why would they put the white tank on a white colored mannequin? They should use color, because if you're with your parents, you can't tell that is this. Also, but she was white. Their way, it was more. What was the word you use? Sexualizing.
Yeah, they over-sexualized.
Yeah.
Because when you glance, it's like, oh, does she even have a shirt on?
Yeah. Right.
Kind of thing.
And it makes you question, like, who are they really trying to pull into this store and purchase these clothes?
Yeah. And there was the shorts that were like, the butt cheeks were like literally hanging out.
I feel like that's like the equivalent of a boys sagging their pants low enough that their butt is hanging out.
Yeah. There should be like a dress code for society, or do you think people are just allowed to freely express who they are?
I honestly think there was once upon a time a dress code for society where, and I'm gonna just go back to our older days back in the 80s as far as church. Women were looked at different when they wore pants, right?
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't wear pants to church. They had to wear a dress, and the dress had to be past their knees. They had to wear stockings with their dresses. They had to make sure their arms were covered. They couldn't wear spaghetti straps or anything like that. Um, that's been the code since I've known as far as growing up. And then a lot of the schools have uniforms because of that. You know, the uniforms, they're color, they have to be a certain colors. They can't, have the spaghetti strap. They can't wear the skinny jeans. They can't wear the skirts that come up high rise past their thighs. Everything has to be below the thigh, above the knee. Can't be longer than your thumb and your pinky. So your pinky, that's how it goes, or something like that. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's always been a dress code for society, but somehow it changed, and where, I don't know. I honestly don't know where, who, why, what, when.
I personally, I like the change. Growing up, coming from a religious background, I was always taught to like wear skirts below your knees. And with my mom, being a single mom and being proud of who she is, she taught me you should love your body no matter what. You should wear whatever you want. And still, I, being a little conservative, I would wear what I want, but I would also remember, like, hey, like, I want to respect my body, but I also want to show off my curves, because, I got these curves, so let me just show them off. And I like how when I go to church, I can wear jeans and not be just criticized. It's more acceptable, and I like that. But I also like how I can wear a fancy dress to church and not be criticized either.
Yeah, I think the problem lies when it's like these preteen girls and we're just kind of like selling them sex all the time. And like, you need to look good for guys, you need to look like a certain body type, you need to show off your butt, you need to. That's a kind of a problem, because then it's less of like, oh, I'm a mature adult who's like owning my body. It's more like, oh, I better dress this way so people like me, because that's during puberty, and you're like
That's
really
a tough
concerned
time.
about what everyone thinks of you.
You're confused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's with her because her skirt was cuter and shorter. Her boobs was hanging out, but that's not you. You got to learn how to love yourself first. That's how I look at it. You have to love yourself first and let your clothes fit your body. If that makes sense.
What else did we see in Forever 21?
the plus size section and the guy section.
Yes.
Very interesting to talk about. Let's go there.
All right.
Yeah.
It showed up everyone. No. The location, right?
Location.
Kind of shoved in the corner.
Second
tiny
floor.
section.
Yeah, second floor, small section for big clothing. Right?
Yeah.
And the guys, as Marissa showed us, the guys section, there was a huge guy section which was right next to the plus size section, which was like
Tiny.
tiny. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tiny.
Just tucked away in a little corner.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the store was still for the smaller body type. Yeah.
None of the men have hair on their mannequins.
Yes. Yeah.
They only had one man on a picture in there who was so just
Do you think that draws women in to buy clothing for men?
on that second floor.
Yeah.
It could.
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Or
It sure does set the standards
Yeah.
high for men.
yeah,
too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
you kind of feel bad for them.
Men are
Kind of.
overlooked. Yeah.
Kind of, just a little bit.
Just a little. Yeah.
Edit that part out.
And then there was the plus size shorts that you talked about.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
How they kept the booty in instead of let the booty out.
Yeah, it was longer.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's kind of like, really?
That was a little,
Right.
it was a little rude.
Right. It's like you have these little booty shorts for these skinny little bitty girls with nothing but a booty cheek hanging out. Skin, pretty much. But then you have these thicker women, thicker than a snicker women, who has the lumptious curves, but you don't give them shorts where their curves are hanging out.
do you want them to be ashamed of their body?
Yeah.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is that saying, right?
Right.
It's basically like them saying because you are overweight, you are showing enough skin.
If you're overweight,
Right.
you're ugly. That's
Yeah.
the
That's-
message
you
I
should
get.
cover
Yeah,
up.
you should
Yeah.
cover up.
Mhm.
No, I want to let it show.